Hey everyone, it's Leonette. Welcome back to DIY Beauty on Purpose. Today I'm working on this beautiful table. I believe it's called like a Martha sewing machine, something or other. But let me tell you, so one of my contacts on Facebook contacted me about it. She found it, and of course my daughter put that in there on I don't know where, but she gave it to me for $10 and I cannot wait to get started working on it. I'm going to give it a fresh look. It's actually in pretty good shape. One of the knobs is broken. However, I have plans for it, so can't wait to show you what I did with it. Alright guys, so as you know by now, if you've seen my videos, first thing you need to do is make sure that the piece is very, very clean. This piece was probably by far the dirtiest piece I have ever cleaned. Well, no, probably the second, because I did redo a pair of nightstands that were really, really bad. But this was so dirty, I had to clean it 3 times before the water came back clear. So just make sure you clean them very, very well. I'm removing the knobs, like I said, because I will be replacing them. All right, so for this video, I'm so excited because I get to use a new paint for me. This is from Amy at Home, and super excited because I have seen it on Facebook, and I'm so excited that they sent me these products, and now I get to try them. You're going to be very surprised at the color. Yep. Well, if you saw the thumbnail, you probably know that I painted it pink. But I'm very excited because I normally pick the lighter color, so this is an exciting color for me. They also sent me one of their brushes, and this is their 2-inch wedge. So I am just going to tape, the legs, because at first I thought I would leave the legs as is and maybe wax them and give them like a fresh shine or wax to it. But you'll see in a little bit here that I did change my mind. So starting to paint here. So let me tell you a little bit about this beautiful, beautiful paint. It has a beautiful scent to it. That was the first thing I noticed. Well, the first thing I noticed is the beautiful coverage. It does have really, really good coverage. As you can tell, I mean, this piece is really dark and the coverage is very, very good. But the scent to it, oh my gosh, it smells like maybe vanilla or some sort of dessert. But it smells really good. So if you're painting indoors or you have a piece that has a really strong like old furniture smell, this is a good paint to go with. It actually made my room smell really good. So as you can see, again, the coverage is really, really, really good. The brush, I was surprised. I'm not normally a flat brush kind of person. I like using the round chalk paint brushes that I normally use, but it was actually really good. It was good to get on the tighter corners. I'm really happy about it, so I'm very thankful they sent me this brush. So I'm going to give everything the first coat and then, of course, let it fully dry. I will be painting the inside of that top that you see on top, but not the inside of the cubby, just the inside of the top as well. I do want to mention that the paint that they sent me is it's from their One Step paint line. It's not a one coat. I don't want you to confuse that. You definitely need 2 coats. But it's a one step. It's you don't have to sand. There's very little prep that you have to do to the piece except for cleaning it, of course, if it needs to. And then the color that I'm using, it's the Drama Queen. How appropriate, right? I love that. I love that for this color. All right, so for the legs, so I decided to paint them, as you can see here. Remove the tape. And what I'm doing is when I have legs or any details that have already so much details like these legs do, I try to keep the texture going. So I'll explain. So instead of brushing up and down where the paint will get inside the creases, I paint sideways. So what it does is it highlights those legs. So if you could tell the legs, you couldn't tell that it had all those beautiful details. Once you paint it sideways, you can see it because the paint is only going on top of the details versus inside all the little nicks and crannies. So I mean, to me, I just like that look. And also because I will be distressing the table. So I think it just adds to the distress look, and it gives it an effect that what a darker wax would do. It would highlight those details. So I just decided to do it that way. So here I'm just doing the top. This is the second coat. And as you can tell, I mean, a second coat is absolutely sufficient for the piece. And I can imagine for lighter color pieces, it would be sufficient too. I'm using my mister, my bottle with water that mists the water here and there because as the paint dries a little bit, it kind of clumps up just like any other paint would. So I like to mist it a little bit to make sure that it smooths out. Now, this paint does have a thinner consistency than other paints that I have used. So if you are going to mist it or spray it, just be careful because in this part here, I did mist it just a little bit too much and it did drip a little bit. But other than that, it did held up pretty good everywhere else. I just, as I misted it, it did drip just a bit, but no big deal. I smoothed it out and it all worked fine. So I'm just moving out the drawers so that I can paint them well enough. And then I noticed that some paint got on the top and some paint got on the sides as well. And unfortunately on the side, it didn't come out as good as I wanted it. But the sides of the drawers were in really bad shape anyway. So I'll show you what I did in a little bit here. So I am going to be distressing this table as I mentioned earlier. I'm using my electric sander and a 220 grit sandpaper. I thought the 220 grit would be sufficient. If you have a 120 grit, it should be fine, but I wouldn't go more than that because then it'll get too much into the wood. And I didn't want that. I did get it in some spots, and that's natural when you're doing it with an electric sander, but I was okay with that look. So I'm focusing on the edges, which look how beautiful when I distress on each little edge there from the details on that cubby, how it just makes it pop. Otherwise, I feel like it would have just blended in. You wouldn't have been able to see those details, especially after it's been sealed. You'll notice that that darker color from the base color just pops. And that's why I love distressed furniture. I do it often. Actually, I do it most of the time. It's the look I prefer. But the table would have been absolutely fine with no distressing. So again, just distressing the details and the edges. And I did do some of the top as well. All right, so now I am sealing everything. Now this paint, Amy at home, makes it very clear that you do not need to add a top coat. It was perfectly fine without it. However, because I distressed it, you see a lot of the whitish color from the sandpaper. So sealing it allows that white things to leave, to disappear, but it also protects it more. So I really want this piece to be very protected. I'm using the Verathane Polyurethane in the crystal clear, and I'm going to give everything 2 coats. And on the top, I did 3. Oh, and I'm using my sponge applicator, which sometimes I don't use, sometimes I use. It just depends, I guess, what I feel like doing. But to be honest with you, I don't know why I use it more because it truly makes the job a lot easier. It just goes on smooth and in very thin coats, which is ideally what you want to do because it avoids streaks. So again, as you can see here, look at that darker edges pop as the white disappears. Beautiful. I just love, love, love how this little table looks distressed. All right, guys, so to the drawers. I mentioned earlier that the sides of the drawers were in pretty bad shape, and that's what I'm talking about. Sorry, I have the drawer way too high. It has some sort of like maybe glue. I tried sanding it, and it just kind of made it worse because then it just sanded the, oh, I guess the wood. So what I decided to do was to paint the sides. I am using a Behr paint. This is not a chalk paint or anything. This is just something I had on hand that I have for another project that I'll be showing you guys. So I'm just using a smaller brush here, and I'm just going to give it one coat. That's all it needed. I just wanted to cover that, I don't know, the gluish thing that it had, as well as some of the pink from the paint. So again, just one coat. I'm being very, very careful not to get it on the edges though. I want to keep it strictly on the sides and make sure that it looks nice and even. I just think it kind of completes the look. It just makes the table look nice and finished. So I did this to all 3 drawers, and I'm really glad I did. Normally, I lined the inside of the drawers. I decided not to because actually they were in really good shape. Once I cleaned them and disinfected them, they just looked pretty good. All right, so I normally don't show you this part, but I wanted to show you that I buy these little felt pads they're like sticky on one side. You can get them at like Walmart hardware stores. You can get them even at the Dollar Tree. I usually put these on my furniture because it just feels like, again, it just completes the look, and it's just nice for the customer to have padded legs. All right, so I'm using these little knobs that I have used in so many projects. They come in this box, and they come, I believe it's either 10 or 12, and they're super cute, and I've used it, like I said, in so many projects. Now this one, considering it's a small table, I will be using 6 of them, or no, yeah, 6 of them. So there's what it looked like before, and that's what it looks like now. Oh my gosh, guys, this little table. Again, I don't go with these bright colors often, but let me tell you, the reaction I got from when I posted it for sale was amazing. Everybody loved it, and it sold within a day. Very, very happy. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. This is it for today. Thank you so much for joining me, for tuning in, and for watching till the end. And if you really enjoyed it and you have not subscribed yet, I invite you to do so. Become part of our YouTube family. I post videos every single week, and I hope that you stick around. I hope you have a blessed day.